Peace, everybody. Welcome to Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Rob Jarrell.
And today we're going to recap this past Saturday's boxing action and sprinkle in a little bit of MMA, in which we had, on the boxing side, we had on HBO, Roman Gonzalez versus McWilliams Arroyo and Gennady Golovkin versus Dominic Wade. And then, like I said, we're going to sprinkle in a little bit of Ben Henderson versus Andre Korshkov and John Jones versus Ovin St. Preux. Let's get the boxing action out of the way. First, on the opening fight of HBO, I don't know if it was championship boxing or boxing after dark. It really doesn't matter. I just came to see people get punched in the face. But we had Roman Gonzalez, who a lot of people consider the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the game right now, against McWilliams Arroyo, who is a pretty good fighter and did some pretty good work, but you could see the difference in the levels of talent and experience that they had. I'm gonna let Rob start it off, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so McWilliams Arroyo, Puerto Rican standout. I think he's, if I'm not mistaken, was like 17-2. I think about 17-2 going into this fight.
With like 14 knockouts.
With 14 knockouts. So he was more of a boxer puncher coming in against Chocolatito Gonzalez. And there was a lot said in this fight with Chocolatito. He didn't have more of that ripped look. He lost his last, I want to say 5 to 10 pounds in like the last week of the fight. So he didn't have quite the best shape. But he was still so supremely conditioned that he was able to weather anything Arroyo threw at him, which he did do good work. I would have liked to see him go to the body more against Gonzalez and try to slow him down. But it was still good work. And at this point, it was who could take whose punches better. I think Chocolatito had better defense. He had that subtle, he'll make you, there are no clean hits, especially if you're going to throw upstairs. But he did take him off his spot, and then when it landed, you could tell because Arroyo landed some very good shots, but the chin on Gonzalez is just top notch.
Yeah, like Rob said, his defense is very subtle. He moves his head excellently and does it for long stretches. He has great anticipation reflexes where he can kind of know what you're about to do in order to get out of the way. And that is what really made his defense look so good. And like Rob said, there were quite a few left hooks that Arroyo landed really flush, turned Gonzalez's head around, had a nice pop to it, and Gonzalez just kept coming. So, like, Arroyo has a lot of knockouts, so we know the power is there. So I guess the sentiment would be that, like Rob said, this guy's chin is on another level.
Now, also with this fight, you can really see the difference in the pro skill level. Gonzalez has a pretty decent amateur background. I think he only lost maybe 1 or 2 amateur fights.
Yeah.
But they were mostly in Nicaragua. Whereas Arroyo was well traveled as part of the Puerto Rican team, and Roy Jones pointed this out. I think Roy Jones and Max Kellerman both pointed this out, and you really had to take that into account because as a pro, Gonzalez was way more seasoned.
Yeah, he's got over 40 fights. I think
this was his 45th win.
Right. And
I think it's kind of like even with Canelo, who didn't have a whole lot of amateur fights, but he started so young.
Right.
Like Chocolatito, on a pro level, that he's been learning on the job and his talent level has been greater. So when it comes to the pro styles of fighting and expecting any kind of pro style or pro fighter, they're much more prepared than the Arroyo brothers. So you could really tell. But I would have liked to see Arroyo turn Gonzalez more and try to work the body just a little bit more.
Yeah, there's really not a lot left to be desired for Gonzalez's performance because he opened up on Arroyo. He tried his best to get him out of there, but Arroyo's a tough guy, and he was able to make it the distance. Even more impressive, he did so after losing the sole of his shoe midway through the fight.
Right.
And, you know, I don't know too many people that would feel comfortable. Boxing shoes aren't really something you wear every day anyway.
Right.
But then just to have like the top part and your bare foot or a sock. So that probably really affected his movement. It probably affected him being able to turn on his punches.
And the ability just to plant off his, because was it his back foot or his front foot?
I think it was his right foot, so it was his back foot.
So for that one, he probably wasn't able to get all the leverage he could when throwing those right hands.
And he still managed to survive to make it to the end of the fight, because when that happened, I was like, oh, it's only a matter of time before Gonzalez knocks this guy out.
Well, not even survive. He was fighting back.
Right, yeah, he not only did he survive, he was still trying to win the fight in many spots. So shout out to him for going through that, and while he didn't get the win, he probably has a moral victory, being that he did not get knocked out, and Gonzalez had like a 10 or 12 fight knockout streak that was snapped, and he made a good account of himself by still landing flush and cleanly on Gonzalez, even when things weren't going his way, because as the rounds went on, Gonzalez turned up the pressure, and most guys would have folded, but he didn't. So that's all we got for that one. We're just waiting. I think Gonzalez said he's going to do one more fight, then move up to 115. So we got some new challenges up there. We'll see what he does in his next fight, and we'll go from there. Main event: Gennady Golovkin, Triple G, fighting Dominic Wade, who was the IBF mandatory. Not a lot of people gave Wade a chance. I'm not even sure I picked a round in the preview video. If you didn't see that, that was a quick counter I did outside the barbershop on the way before I went in. But I said that it was really up to Wade on how long this fight would go, because we all knew who the winner was going to be and how it was going to end. Golovkin was just too skilled, too powerful. We knew that going in. And I read an article yesterday that made a good point that I want to add another point to. And he was saying that it's funny that, you know, Golovkin gets these fights on TV when, you know, a lot of people were giving the Al Heyman fighters crap about it, and they were turning down Andre Ward fights for fighting similar level competition. And to that I say this: while he may be right, Golovkin moves the needle on pay TV. He may not move the needle on pay-per-view, but on HBO's subscription fan base, he's number one.
That's right.
So they don't care who he fights. They just want to see him fight. He packs the arenas, he puts people in front of the TV, and they don't care because they just want to see him knock people out. So you're going to get that. And until some of those other guys step up, we're going to keep getting it. So on to the fight. There really wasn't much to go on because it was so short. And we know what we get out of Golovkin. I was a little surprised. Wade looked a lot slower than I've seen him in other fights. I don't know if he was trying to feel Golovkin out or if he was just trying to like survive and wait till later on in the fight. I'm not sure, but his hands looked a lot slower than they did against his previous opponents. And maybe that was, you know, because of the bright lights. He folded under the moment, which made him fold under Golovkin's punches even quicker. Who knows? Tactically, Golovkin did what we thought he would do. He looked great. There's really not too much to say about it. I mean, it's just like we really have to get some of these other guys that have names and a little bit more seasoning on them to step in the ring with them. Like we got Billy Joe Saunders, who turned down the fight with Golovkin for this date, but he just can't keep saying Golovkin's name in the press. It's like, why don't you just fight the guy? Danny Jacobs.
Where is he?
What happened to him? He beat Peter Quillen in like a minute and a half and took his belt and disappeared. And no talk of any fight of any kind from him.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is out there? Quillen is coming off of a loss. Andy Lee is coming off of a loss. There are other guys out there. Toriano Johnson, who was originally scheduled to fight Golovkin, got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he'll get the next call.
Right.
What's my man name? The good boxer. He always gets knocked down and keeps getting Indom. That would be a good one. I would like to see if Golovkin can stop him, or if he can actually outbox him the way he does other people. That like when he fought Quillen, he was outboxing him, but he got knocked down 6 times.
Yeah.
So that would be a good one to see. But really, we just got to get some of these top guys get in the ring. Then you got Canelo, who really doesn't care either way about him. Like he's like, I'll fight him when I feel like fighting him. And he's earned that position because he's the number one guy right now. And Golovkin's just going to have to wait, unfortunately. So, as fans, we don't like that, but that's just how it is. So it's no point in complaining about it, really. You can, we can complain about it till we blue in the face, but you're not changing Canelo's paycheck, so he's not going to pay attention to you. That's that. So we just wait to see who he shows up against next, and just wait for one of the big guys to say, hey, I'm going to step up to the challenge, see what this guy's all about. Let's switch gears, switch sports. Like I said, in the quick counter, I did mention the Ben Henderson-Koreshkov fight, in which Ben Henderson was attempting to become the first man to hold a title in WEC, UFC, and Bellator.
Didn't happen this time.
No, it did not. The fight was at 170 at welterweight. Koreshkov's only loss is to Ben Askren, and I watched that fight. It was awful for Koreshkov. I mean, like, everything that could go wrong did. Mm-hmm. Ben Askren treated him like not even a sparring partner. Like, he was just some guy on the street that came in.
Took him out.
Yeah, he battered him, took him down at will. When he got down, he could do nothing to get back up. But against Henderson, someone we thought, he's faced the best in the lightweight division. He had the one fight at welterweight where he stopped Brandon Thatch, which, was pretty impressive because Thatch was so much bigger than him. Mm-hmm. And once again, Koreshkov was so much bigger than Ben Henderson. But this time, the skill was just too much. The size and the skill. Because every time he tagged Henderson tried to go for a takedown. Mm-hmm. But he was just too big. And he would sprawl, couldn't get it. They got back up. He kept getting beat on. So, 2 things we learned. Weight classes are real.
They matter. Weight classes matter.
Yeah. And secondly, the Bellator guys are better than we thought.
Or they're just getting better with more seasoning.
Probably a bit of both. So we don't know what's going to happen next for Henderson. He could go back down to 155 where there's a whole lot more bigger names and probably bigger paychecks. Or he might decide to stay at welterweight. I'm not sure. After being thoroughly dominated like that, he might want to try to re-strategize and get back in there with Koreshkov. We'll find out later. Moving over to the UFC, the big daddy of MMA. John Jones made his return to the octagon after almost a year and a half absence due to his own doing against Ovince St. Preux, who was a pretty good light heavyweight. But no one thought he was on John Jones' level, especially on 3 weeks' notice.
Right.
That's what we got. But we also saw a lot of rust on Jon Jones.
Not just physical, but mental as well.
And that's where it was. It was actually just mental, because he looked the best he had ever looked physically. Because this guy was in the gym hard.
Look
I don't
up
know
the
if you
video.
guys seen the videos, but I mean, he was deadlifting 600 pounds, doing insane jumps, all kinds of stuff. It was impressive, and you can tell the difference in his physique.
Mm-hmm.
But even he said it in the post fight. It was like there were openings I saw or things that I thought I could have done that my body just wouldn't do because I was just thinking too much. It was not instinctual like you would want it to be when you're fighting. Like, you see the opening, you take the opening.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's like, oh yeah, that guy looks open. Then the opening's not there anymore.
Gotta pull the trigger.
Right. So what I got out of it was like, he should be very happy that Daniel Cormier got hurt, because he would have lost. He was not ready for DC, but that did help him get ready for DC, because now they're talking about having that fight at UFC 200 in another 2 months. So that got the rust off, and it may help that he doesn't like Cormier, so he may take those shots now that, you know, he got that out of the way.
But it was an 18-month layoff, so that was there. The good thing is he can see it now. He just has to, once he see it, go for it like he normally does, because his improvisation and one of the other MMA fighters, I can never think of his name, but it'll probably come to me later, said he's probably the best at improvisation in the UFC. And you've seen the crazy moves that he's done. It was like, oh wow, I haven't seen that. Or did he just do this? Well, that's one of those things. If he's seeing the openings, maybe he's not sure what he has to do or what he wants to go for. He knows he's exactly what he wants to go for, but just is unsure, not confident if it will work, and he needs to kind of rebuild that confidence. So I don't know what he has to do in the gym over the next 2 months if they go for UFC 200, or they want a little bit more time, but he's going to have to bring in some sparring partners to try to push him.
Yeah, and I think he'll get that. I think he'll be more than ready when it's finally time to face Cormier, because he doesn't want to lose to him at all.
You know Cormier is going to just train his butt off.
Yeah, always. So in closing, I want to let you guys know, like, if you don't know who Demetrious Johnson is, you are missing out. Now, I know a lot of people talk about Jon Jones and how good he is, but like I said in the preview video, I believe Demetrious Johnson is the best MMA fighter in any organization, hands down. And a lot of people don't want to give him his props because he's small, and they be like, oh, small people don't knock people out. Well, just watch his fight last Saturday.
He took out a undefeated Henry Cejudo.
And he was a gold medal wrestler, had beaten very good competition to get his shot, and Johnson annihilated him. I mean, it was not close ever at all, and the stoppage looked phenomenal. I mean, those knees and elbows he landed to finish that fight were just incredible. Like, when he smelled blood, it was over.
And if you watch Demetrious Johnson, normally a lot of times you see a 5-round domination of whoever he's fighting. No, this was, I can still knock people out. Watch me.
Yeah. You need to watch this guy. This guy is pretty much what you would want to see from an MMA fighter. He can do it all, and he is doing it all in the octagon. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching this episode. Make sure you like it. If you have not done so, hit the subscribe button. You can hit us up on Facebook, Google+, Instagram at Capital Combat, Gmail, capitalcombat@gmail.com. Shoot us any questions. Hit us up. We'll put you in the combat mailbag. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
This is round round one and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick crime, hurricane. I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.